Welcome to Tori Day Show. This is your host, Manajela. Yeah, today I'm going to be hosting a special guest. A special guest. He's going to be in the studio with me. So I want to get him. His name is Na. Is Nze Tim Okafu. So
Thank
welcome, Mr. Nze Tim Okafu to Tori
you.
Day Talk Show. It's a pleasure to have you on ACN TV. Can you take a second and introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Thank you for having me, Manajela. I really appreciate what you and your team is doing to help the people of Amazonia and the people of Biafra. We are one team. My name is Nzetim Okafor. I am from Ibuku in Agwata local government area, Oka province, Biafra land. I live here in Toronto, GTA, Canada, and I'm very, very happy to be with you.
Thank you, sir. Oh, yeah, let me dive in. Okay. I understand that you are based in Canada. Can you share with us a brief background on how you joined the movement to become a top ranking IPOB member in Canada?
Well, primarily, I describe myself as a community leader. At various times, I was formerly the president of Anambra State Association of Canada here. So that's the president of all the indigenes of Anambra State, people from Southeast Nigeria. I held that for 2.5 years. I was also a member of the caretaker committee, the chair of the caretaker committee of Igbo Community Association, the umbrella association of all Igbo speaking people here in Canada. I was also a former board secretary of the same association. I'm the second vice president of Knights of St. John International, the Catholic Church. I'm a chartered accountant, chartered under the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria and the Chartered Professional Accountants of Ontario. So that's the background. So all in all, I'm a community leader. So it was within the spirit of this community building that I first heard about IPOB with respect to efforts to restore Biafra. I became involved, not as a member, but sort of a cheerleader. I will help them organize their events, get people using my contacts to attend their ceremonies and their programs. One of them was their barbecue, the rallies they had over the years. In fact, even though I wasn't a member, they asked me to speak when we attended a protest at Amnesty International. So over the years, I've become friendly with them, but I wasn't really a registered member of IPOB. It just that at some point, Mazin Nandikanu was incarcerated. So he went to Nigeria and government arrested. And for a period of time, Mazin Nandikanu was in detention. And it was during that time that IPOB continued to preach the restoration gospel. And they organized an exhibition here in Canada, genocide exhibition. In that particular event, I was asked to be the master of ceremony. We hosted, the Canadian IPOB hosted the leadership of IPOB worldwide. So I got to meet the leaders of IPOB here in Toronto. At that time, just to give you a little bit of background, there were three factions of IPOB. And even though some people wanted to join, they didn't know which one is the authentic IPOB. Everybody was claiming to be part of Mazin and the Kano, but there were three of them. So when IPOB hosted this exhibition event, the leadership came here and saw the need to reconcile all the factions of IPOB. It was during that meeting that night that the leadership of IPOB identified me and asked me to, to help organize the family together so that we can speak with one voice, so that people who are sitting on the fence will come in. In my experience, everybody will tell you 90 something, more than 95% of all Biafrans support Biafra, but they're either lukewarm or they're sitting on the fence. So that night, some of the things we know is that there are people who are sitting on the fence because there's no unity, because there are three factions. So once I was asked to bring these families together, these three factions together, with another gentleman, in fact, it was a committee. So we worked for some months and we weren't able to achieve this objective. And they gave us the mandate to write a report to the IPOB leadership as to our efforts, whether we're successful or not. So we sat down, wrote the report, and told them that we're not satisfied. We're not satisfied. We haven't been able to achieve the results as was achieved, and listed the problems that we're facing. There were three incorporations, three legal documents established legal entities, all IPOBs here. So at the expiration of that time, then they asked us, three of us that were in that committee, to continue to lead the family until when we achieve harmony. So we had recommended another gentleman who used to work in another country, but came to Canada at the time. But the leadership said, no, we want you to continue. We think we have the ability to get the family going. So it was based on that I accepted. So ironically, on your wedding, the very first day that I became a full member of IPOB, that I was asked to do a job. And from that day to another 6 months, they transitioned me to the leadership of the IPOB family here. At that time, there was only a very skeletal movement, very small amount of people as IPOB members. So we started to build from one province to another, from less than 13 members to over 700 members before I reached my tenure, spanning so many provinces. One of the key things that helped organize the family was we hosted a town hall meeting when Mazin Nandekano came out of incarceration and attended our program here. Gave us the impetus, conferred legitimacy, and gave us that energy. It was electric. Just his presence was electric. It did show people that we are the right IPOs, and that made other people come. So that's in a nutshell the story. So from not being a member to trying to help to asking me to help put the family together, being appointed the national coordinator. So these things happened organically like that. And when the kind of came here, he was happy with the job we're doing and blessed us to continue to grow the family.
Yeah, is there a careful? I'm just going to ask you something. That is that this IPOB. What does that stand for? Because we'll be talking. I know not, Biafra people understand, but there will be strangers who are just used to who will just be watching this for the first time. So, what is the mean? What can you give us the meaning of the IPOB? So because it's an abbreviation, so people should understand.
Thank you. IPOB simply means Indigenous People of Biafra.
Okay.
So the way you will understand it, everybody that is a citizen of once existing country called Biafra that existed between 1967 to 1970. If you or your parents or your ancestors are born in this enclave, then you are a member of Indigenous People of Biafra. Now, there's a difference from the Indigenous People of Biafra and the incorporated entity, the Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, which is the organization championing the restoration of Biafra. So it's like saying the people working for the country of Biafra. So we are the, the people right now leading the restoration of Biafra.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. You are once a national coordinator of IPOB in Canada. What has changed since you were a national coordinator, and what is currently going on in the liberation movement?
Yeah, I alluded to that before. The state of affairs when I met IPOB, we were small, we were fragmented. When
Okay.
I became IPOB national coordinator, we unified IPOB, and I can tell you right now that we are one family. One of our slogans is IPOB, one family. We are now one indivisible, indestructible IPOB family. So that is the main thing I did when I became the national coordinator. Soon after I became the national coordinator, we opened the Montreal, which is the Quebec province, and other sub provinces. The Alberta was existing. Like I said, the number was slow. We started to expand Alberta. So all these provinces are starting to have a lot of zones, which is sort of from the province to the cities, to even more zones under the cities. So we saw a lot of growth. And during that period, we formed a great alliance with the communities where we live. One of them is the Igbo Diaspora Development Association, IDDA. These individuals, these work of the society where we live, our community came together and formed an association that is designed to help urgent need in Igbo community. And they identified IPOB as one of the people that they want to help. They know that IPOB is championing the defense of our land from invaders, from planning herdsmen, from jihadists that are coming down to rape, to kill, to pillage our villages. And IPOB have the people on the ground who lay down their lives to protect our territories. So we build an alliance, a symbiotic alliance with the community where we live, whereby the Biafran communities have given us the backing we need because they understand that to build a country and a society, you need all hands on deck. So
Yeah.
that synergy is what propelled IPOB to this global force that we are seeing today. And ever since I left being the national coordinator, we are we have grown from strength to strength. They have done more than I did. and they will continue to grow this family. And in fact, we've gotten so many, um, how can I say it? The IPOB family worldwide have looked at IPOB Canada space status. We we are looked at with dignity. We are looked at with, with pride that what we're doing, we've offered leadership amongst IPOB families in the world. In things we do them very well. So, with respect to where we were before and where we're going, we are
Okay,
marching.
Zero careful. Let me ask you this: are people moving away towards the IPOB in Canada completely? I mean, moving away completely to liberate the indigenous people of Biafra and restore or form a sovereign national far away from the decayed Federation of Nigeria?
Yeah, listen, Nigeria is there. It's everybody can see that the country itself, it's not only to decay the country, it's a failed state. So, and the question is, the citizens of this present Nigeria and the generations to come, what do you do? Do you have a country? Is this the country you want to leave as legacy to the people coming behind? Or do you want a new country, a new birth, an organic country that your children and children after will be proud of? Most of us that have lived here and overseas have come to understand what a country is. A country basically values the citizens and makes sure that the basic needs of these citizens are met, that their rights are protected, dignity and guaranteed, that there's freedom in everything that they want to go, they get into. So these things are the things that are lacking. IPOB have brought this message of hope. I can tell you that the indigenous people of Biafra are solidly and wholeheartedly behind this movement. And that is why there's nothing that will destroy this, because Biafra is a spirit. The light has been lit in the hearts and minds of Biafran people. They are yearning to meet this new nation, a nation of hope, a nation that will unleash its boundless resources, especially human resources, of the people of Biafra, the ingenuity of the people of Biafra, to explore boundaries, to free African nations from where they are. So if we want to talk about Pan-Africanism, we have to free the indigenous people of Biafra from all shackles, from whatsoever that's been done by the colonialists, by the imperialists, so that we can start afresh and build a nation for us today and for the generation to come. So people are gravitating, it's gathering momentum. Everybody from clergy to non-clergy to old, young, new mothers, fathers, children, we are very, very close to having a brand prosperous nation.
Wow, that's great. Okay, let me ask you this, Nze Okafor. Where were you when you heard Mazi Yamdi Kano was illegally renditioned from the from Kenya to Abuja? And can you describe that moment?
Well, to be honest with you, I was in my office when I saw a message on WhatsApp. What was my feeling? I didn't believe it. there's a lot of fake news flying around on social media. So my first reaction is it's fake news.
Yeah.
Then within that, I saw other news organizations reporting this particular news. That's when I started to take it serious. I made phone calls to ascertain whether this piece of news has any credibility. And once the very first time I got from reliable information that this was true, I felt I, it, I, I don't know how to describe. I felt sadness.
Mm.
I felt empty. I felt humiliated.
Mm.
I felt disappointed.
I can understand.
And then my next reaction is, how did this happen? As human beings, that was my first question. How did this happen? Because I've been in constant communication with our leader and the people, the closest people that work with him. And I know one or two things how he operates. So I'm asking questions. How did this happen? Where was he abducted? So I was in search of credible information so that I can this information so that it makes sense to me. It was during that as I began to ask questions and put the information together, both public information and information that I got from the leadership. I was able to ascertain that our leader was forcefully abducted, something that amounts to a kidnap, and was tortured in inhuman conditions, detained outside prison or police custody in Kenya. These are facts that have been established. That our leader was renditioned by the rogue regime in Nigeria. I don't know whether you're following events in Nigeria. Nigeria have had very high rate of kidnapping and ransom in Nigeria. It has a very high rate of insecurity. In fact, some people will describe Nigeria as a graveyard. The amount of people that died is hundreds of thousands of people have died to Islamic insurgency, marauding herdsmen, bandits, unknown gunmen. It's a chaos. What is saddening is that Nigeria has this level of kidnapping, and the government of Nigeria has started to exploit this particular kidnapping by going to another country where they have no jurisdiction, abduct a British citizen, and have the audacity to torture him and take him to Nigeria against every convention, every common sense, no dignity. Now, if Nigeria was to be a person in the committee of countries, how do other nations view Nigeria? A man that is a prisoner of conscience, a political prisoner, a leader of a people, someone fighting to liberate a group of people. He fled his country because his life was in danger. There was no two ways about it. The government and government agencies and security operatives and their military went to his house and murdered 28 people, including his relatives and members of IPOB. The trauma of that particular incident led to the death of his parents. The man sought refuge in a foreign country because his life was in danger. And that country accepted him and let him stay in the country. The government have on several occasions attempted to kill him, even while he was in another country. Now, to go to another country and abduct him and be proud enough to announce to the world that you have a man without going through the extradition process. The normal process is that if there is a criminal that is in another country and you have an extradition treaty with that country, that you go to that country and file a lawsuit, an extradition lawsuit, and lay the facts in a competent court of jurisdiction and make your case why this individual should be sent back to his country where he committed an offense and be made to answer for those charges. That's what responsible nations do. That is when you know a country respects the rule of law. Now, how can a country that does not respect the rule of law compel the citizens of the same country to obey the same very laws you break? So you look at all these things, it has precedent. When this president was a military head of state in 1984, they went to England, abducted a minister that was also a political refugee, put him in a crate and drugged him, and was about to take him to Nigeria before that operation was busted. So we're seeing a pattern. It's saddening that the most populous state in Africa engaging in such a misconduct is a disgrace, really. It's a really the biggest disgrace that African man has exhibited. We Africans is known to go to the world and for handouts. We can't do anything. That's the impression. To then add exporting of kidnapping citizens against their will, torturing them, and breaking all kinds of treaties is really a shame. It's a big shame on that country. Before I forget, I want to thank Dr. Cho Ayaba Lucas, the leader of Ambazonia, for his courage, his vision, for working with our leader, Martin Nandekan. They are the Moses of our time. I pray that when Ambazonia comes and Biafra comes, that this flourishing relationship will continue to propel our people to claim who they are. We are one of the greatest people on earth. This current condition is not who we are. What you see today is not who we are. We will get to a point where this boundless energy and ingenuity will be unleashed. And until we unleash that energy, that ingenuity, we can't be talking about the dignity of a black man. I know that there are people who remember what Africa was, the cradle of civilization. It's no more currently. We have all the resources in the world, both human and material. But some people will look at it, they don't understand the meaning of racism. Racism is in the mind. And I tell my friends, if you want black man, if you want to stop racism in the world, black people have to elevate themselves, show the level of ingenuity and invention, take back their civilization. Before, people used to look at Chinese product or Taiwan product or jobs. Today, I don't think any Western culture or civilization is looking at them in an unfavorable manner because they've been able to show the world that they are capable of competing, of being who they are. And until the shackles that hold Africa is lifted, the dignity of African man will continue to be an illusion. And that is what Ambazonia and Biafra must strive to be. And I want to thank you again, Managela, for the work and you and other comrades like Comrade Victory are doing for this project. I'm pretty sure that generations after us will be very, very proud of our vision and our mission and our accomplishments. Our names will be written in gold. We'll be remembered in history as people who saw it. It might seem at the beginning that it's impossible. But when you believe, when you conceptualize and begin to work and plan towards this, nothing is impossible.
Exactly. Where is Okafu? Oh, nice. It was nice. It's nice enough talking to you. I've learned a lot from you. Yes, right. There's another. This question is. It comes to my attention that IPOB Canada is organizing another march in Ottawa, I think. Yeah, Ottawa, Canada. Please let's watch this video clip from the protest that took place earlier this month. Please, technician, can you play that video for the
Action! Biafra wanting to ganye me ya kode pa. Biafra wanting to Bobo Nabiko. Nabiko. Biafra wanting to Biafra wanting to ganye me ya kode ma. Biafra wanting to Biafra wanting to ganye me ya kode ma. Biafra wanting to Bobo Nabiko. Nabiko. Biafra wanting to Oh, my Okay, so why are we here? We are here. The entire Biafran community in Canada is here to talk to the Canadian government, to bring attention to Canadian government of the illegal abduction of our leader Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, who was illegally abducted. No country up till now have accepted to be part of that abduction. Even though the Nigerian government is trying to confuse the international community, everyone knows that Mazin Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the People's Army of Biafra, was abducted, or rather kidnapped, and is in Nigerian custody as we speak. Under the United Nations Convention, anybody who is fleeing persecution, more so from a country that is known for its atrocious repressive activities. Nigeria has no democracy. Nigeria has a civilian rule by military men in mufti. That is how you can describe the Nigerian government. They trample on the fundamental human rights of all citizens, especially as it concerns the Biafrans. So we are calling on the Canadian government to impress on Nigerian community to ostracize this rogue regime and compel them to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. IPOB, IPOB, united we stand. All Biafrans worldwide must stand behind Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and demand his freedom. The symbol of Nnamdi Kanu, when you imprison Nnamdi Kanu, you imprison all Biafrans in the entire world. And we stand on that and ask the world to do the needful.
Yes.
Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, 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 Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. From one to talk, I never got the ball. From one to talk, is in Nabiko. Nabiko, from one to talk.
Wow, wow, that was some protest. Wow, that was great. That was great. I'm still going on again, Mr. Nze Okafor. Let me ask you, while in Ottawa, which embassy did the team visit, and what was the message to the ambassadors or high commissions? Did you protest in front of the Nigerian embassy, and what was their response?
Well, we did visit the British consulate, the British embassy. We did visit Kenyan embassy. We did visit the Canadian Parliament, and we did visit the Nigerian High Commission. Now, the primary message is the same, but we did different things at different embassies. When we attended to the British embassy, we gave them a written request, and that request is very simple. Nnamdi Kanu is a British citizen.
Yeah.
He was abducted by a foreign traveling as a British citizen. He was extremely rendition. His rights were not read to him. He was detained 8 days in a private residence, tortured and chained to the ground. He was not given his legal right to challenge the extradition to Nigeria. So we simply asked the British government to respect his rights as a citizen of Great Britain by demanding his unconditional immediate release. The Constitution of the British Constitution, guarantees his rights. Right to free movement, right to exist away from torture, right to exist away from a government that is going after his life and the life of his family. So we delivered an oral and written message to the High Commission through an employee that attended us when we arrived there. We stood there using a public address system in a very peaceful manner, as IPOB is known worldwide, and reaffirmed our hope on the country of Biafra. All we are asking is a legal process of referendum just like the British did with respect to the Great Britain. There was a referendum recently, two referendums, whether the people of Scotland will remain as in United Kingdom. At the same time, whether the British people will remain in the EU. So these things are what was contained in the letter. All we're simply asking, release a prisoner of conscience, a British citizen, and help us respect the same rights and privileges that you enjoy in your own country, so that we in Africa can enjoy the same thing and have life for our people, just like you enjoy your life in your country. From there, we attended to the Kenyan embassy, and while we're doing this, the beauty of all this is that we are being led and protected by Canadian RCMP and Ottawa City Police. You can imagine my people in Nigeria, when they heard that we are protesting, they were sending me messages, please don't die, they will kill you. And I told them, listen, the country we live is the country of law. They will protect us, they will not kill us. We are partners. It's a government that listens. It's not a repressive government that's going to kill you. The beauty of this civilization is that people are listening to. There's always dialogue. And it's only when you have that dialogue that the society moves one step ahead. Because then the entire people is contributing to the polity of the place where they live. So when we attended the Kenyan embassy, it was the police that went and knocked to see whether an embassy staff will come to listen to us. Because they know what they've done, nobody came out. I want to bring you back to when the Kenyan people were fighting against the colonial masters. The father of this present president of Kenya, Jomo Kenyatta, was facing persecution because he was fighting for his people. He ran, he fled Kenya and came to Nigeria. Our brother, the Biafran, Right Honorable Nnamdi Azikiwe, the first president, governor general of Nigeria then, housed him and protected him in Nigeria. In fact, a city, a street was named Jomo Kenyatta, a popular street, after he died. Because we Africans understand that there's no other way to get freedom from your oppressors other than civil disobedience, some kind of disobedience, to show that the conditions you live is no longer tenable. Imagine what would have happened to the Black Americans that were slaves. They had to revolt. There has to be some form of dissent from your oppressors. You have to let people know that the conditions you live, it's your right. That you have right to exist as a free human being, equal with other people. God gave everybody equal and endowed every citizen, every human with the same love that impacts mankind. So when we went to Kenyan embassy, we waited, they didn't come, we delivered a message. See, they were inside, they were sitting, and they were listening to the message we're delivering. We're asking them questions. Were you complicit in the abduction? The Kenyan government came out and said, we're not powerful. Nigerian government says, Nigerian government lied to the world and said there was a collaboration amongst world international security agencies that intercepted our leader Martin Nnamdi. Up to now that I'm speaking with you, there's no country, there's no international agency that have come out and said, we are part of this. So we asked the Kenyan government to come out forcefully and deny, not only deny, prove to the world the onus is on the Kenyan government. It is not enough to say we are not part of this. The onus is on Kenyan government to prove that a British citizen that came into the country was taken from Kenya. And you have to tell the international community what happened to him. So our message to the Kenyan government is to clear the role they played, because the people that kidnapped Mazin Nnamdi were they security operatives of Kenyan government. Was the government of Kenya aware that such a crime took place in their place? Do they understand that millions of people who are fellow Africans and their brothers, that they just have to kill their vision and their hope? That their action is unacceptable. It's a really wickedness. It's reprehensible. It's criminal. That's the questions we're asking, and we wanted answers from them. And so that's what we did in Kenyan Embassy. We attended the parliament and left a message through the normal channels to our parliament. And then we attended Nigerian. First of all, I want to commend the diplomat that came to talk to us. It was raining. We were drenched in rain. It was horrible conditions. It was very windy. We defied that particular weather to show the seriousness of our demand. When we were there, this gentleman came and stood with us in the rain and addressed us. So I want to thank him, because that shows that he's a civilized man living in a civilized society. Unlike what usually happens in Nigeria. If citizens come out today, their grievances, armored cars, rocket launchers, aircraft carriers are brought out, and people they will simply murder citizens for simply dissenting, protesting in a peaceful manner and carrying flags around. So when he came out, we asked him what happened to our leader. That the reason why we came is that we came to demand that Mazin Nnamdi, the leader of North Biafra, be released unconditionally, because his abduction, his extradition, was in violation of Nigerian Constitution, Charter of African Union, United Nations, all conventions, international conventions were all broken. So the government itself brings charges against our leader because the abduction itself is illegal. So we also brought to the attention of the High Commission that Nnamdi Kanu's rights were not respected. His rights were not read to him. He wasn't given the right to fight his extradition. He was detained for over 8 days. He tortured, pinned on the floor. He was manhandled. He was not given access to medical, not given access to his personal money as the law required. He was flown in a private jet from the tarmac to Nigeria. even under those conditions, they refusing to have access to his counsel. So we brought all this, and the diplomat that he was aware that we are going to come to the embassy, and secondly, he assured us that the international community is interested in this particular case. So that gave us hope that the world, after all, is watching, that the world is taking note, that the world is not sleeping while this grievous deed, this criminal act, this rogue operation was being carried out on Kenyan soil. He then made mention that Mazin Kanu will have faith trial. That we disagree. We disagree because Mazin Kanu was incarcerated in 2015. Courts after courts gave orders. Those orders were flagrantly disobeyed by that government. So if the same government that disobeyed those orders, and eventually when Nadekanu came out on a bond, the same government went to his house and killed and tried to kill him. It's only by grace of God that he escaped. How can somebody, reasonable human being, then believe that this government that broke the law by engaging in extreme rendition will be the same government that has credibility to administer justice? And therefore, we reached a consensus, a conclusion that cannot be. And on that basis, we demanded that Nnamdi Kanu be released unconditionally. If the Nigerian government wants Nnamdi Kanu in Nigeria, they know what they will do. They will go to England, file an extradition lawsuit, go through the process. The law, United Kingdom is a country of laws. People believe in their judiciary. If they're able to prove before a competent judge of a judge of competent jurisdiction, they will have him. So all these things is what we, and we did tell them that if Nnamdi Kanu wasn't released before 26, they come back to protest again. So it is because that he hasn't been released. That's why we are going to be at the same embassy on the 26th. In solidarity with the man himself, who will be appearing in court in Nigeria. While that court proceedings is taking place, we will be demonstrating and protesting against this illegal abduction.
So you'll be there. Will you be there
Yes,
protesting too? Oh, that's good.
Yes,
That's good.
yes.
Yeah, we understand that the lawyers of councils has the same access to Mazi Kanu in Abuja. Who else has access to him?
Well, I'm one person that always believes when something official position of IPOB, I will let the leadership always to lead. That's why they're there. Now, I'm not privy to who have visited him, but I can tell you public information that is credible. When he was put in the custody, he was in a poor state, physically and mentally. He had no counsel before he was brought to the court. And Nigeria did not inform his counsel that he was arrested. They informed him that he would be brought to court. So his lawyer learned about his just like me and you heard the news. Even though that one government knew that that cancer is the cancer on record that has been handling this case. Just to tell you the sort of thing that's going on in Nigeria, that particular cancer, the government have sent military people on 2 occasions to go and kill him. They've killed people in his compound and burnt his house down, all in a bid to intimidate and make him and force him to stop representing our leader. So I know that his lawyers eventually had access to him after several days. I cannot speak because I'm not privy to that information. Other people who represented our leader while in detention. So
How is he? Yeah. How is he
from
being
the
treated?
information from the information we got, just like I said, he was manhandled in Kenya. Our leader is an encyclopedia. He's a student of history. At any point in time you touch him, he will tell you statistics. He's that good. But when the lawyer spoke to him, he was forgetful. He was afraid of his life. You know, conditions he described were inhumane. So you can understand, he also has a heart condition that needed medical help. So the trauma of this extreme rendition, being surrounded by men full of arms, a lot of times, took you, bundled you into an unknown destination, and accused you of being a sponsor of Al-Shabaab, an extreme jihadist group in Kenya, a public enemy, a group of murderers, knowing fully well that Mazin Namikan is just a simple prisoner of conscience. So this whole trauma, with the physical abuse and beating he got and conditions that he was made to live for 8 days before they took him to DSS custody in Nigeria, it's a very traumatizing experience. I thank God that Nnamdi is made of steel. There are people who would have died of shock. There are people who would have survived that, but only by the grace of God. They could have killed him there. In fact, we had an information that they planned to kill him, but because there was noise and there were people around, that was the only reason why they didn't wish him. So that
Right now, let me ask you something.
Yes.
Does he have access to good nutrition and medical attention, good medical attention at this present moment?
I cannot say, like I said, describe, but I know Nigeria. Nigerians detain people in filthy conditions, very inhuman. They subject people to torture. They murder people. They engage in extrajudicial killing. They have no respect, absolute no respect for human life. Now, it's all these things that when they happen and when white man sees that, they see that black man is very inhuman to fellow black men. That Africans are so inhuman to Africans. How would they respect you if you don't respect yourself? So these things are the thing that ridicule black men, that ridicule Africans all over the world. The manner in which they treat their own fellow men. They have no regard to a man's right as contained in the laws. What you see in Africa are dictators, but are civilians. So a lot of them have had military background, and they remove the military uniform. But in their mind, they are still patriots. They clung to power for a very long time. They leave office, they come back again. They have the mindset of emperor. And this is the issue we have in Africa. And that's why we insist that this has to change. When we allow Biafra, when Biafra comes, our people in Igbo say, Egbe onyozu amarapu onegbo anya n'ọdụ. What it simply means is, if you're a blacksmith and you don't know how to make a gun, look at the cat that flies. They have similar shape. So we that have lived in overseas, that have lived in Western world, experience what it means to have a life. If I die tomorrow, my children will go to school. I don't have any doubt that they can be whoever they want to be, with me or without me. You don't need, if you're sick, you don't need to be worried about the money to pay in the hospital. You have to worry about your health. Because this country is going to make sure that you're well. That you, when you drive here, that people obey simple instructions and laws. The police is truly, truly looking after you and protecting you. That when there's fire in your house, that the fire service will come and rescue you, no matter the amount of fire there. So this is what we need to happen in Africa. The present state of Africa has to change. Let me bring you to before I forget. Whoever that's telling you that Africa is okay the way it is now is either lying to himself and is being dishonest.
Yeah.
Remember, in Europe, for example, there was a time that the Romans were lord over several indigenous people of Europe. Today, every single language spoken in Europe is indigenous people of the country. Every language is respected.
Yeah.
And then, once they were able to do that, they allow people to unleash their potential, to be who they are. There's no longer envy, jealousy, fight for resources. People are allowed to organically develop the way they want. And then they created one bigger family called European Union. Because they've had a similar experience. They have the same civilization. And they created this big market. And they are working together as brothers. So this is the vision. If we go back to Africa, Africans were allowed to organically develop. We wouldn't have this tribal war, this tribal jealousy, this fight, this hatred, this religious bigotry, because people would have seen themselves as one and organically grow as one. And then they begin to be woven and create relationships, and in that way develop like Europe. So we can copy what happened in Europe several years ago, where even small countries like Iceland, that 200-something thousand, is a country. Malta. So long you have a language, you have similar civilizations, get them together because they have that oneness. There will be a lot. As of today, 99% of the wars in the world is caused by religion, or tribal differences. And when the British came to Nigeria, they made sure they brought us together and made sure they sowed the seed of discord, the seed, so that we continue to fight each other and kill each other while they harness the resources in Nigeria. And we that have lived here know that white man is very, very smart. They know exactly what will make black men fail. And they created a scenario and brought them. In Nigeria, for example, the northern Nigeria wants to be an Islamic state. They see Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Iran as the model country they want. The South wants a secular state, where the state is different from the religion. So it
Yeah.
will be freedom as you find in America and Canada and Britain. You cannot mix these things and expect it to work. So what you find is an internal competition where they go to Abuja, Igbo versus Yoruba, Yoruba versus Bini. It's all fight. Inside Nigeria, they have Ohanese, Afenifere, Arewa. Inside Nigeria, what does that tell you? There are different nations inside one nation. They don't have one vision.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different teams playing as one team. They are competing instead of Nigeria competing with other countries.
Now within
Nations
themselves.
in Nigeria is
Yeah.
fighting inside Nigeria,
Inside.
leaving
Yeah.
they can't see the bigger picture.
Oh.
One way, how
Yeah.
are you sure that if you create Biafra, the same thing will not exist? And I tell them, people who have the same civilization, speak the same language, you've solved that main problem of fight at the same time. The next thing is, if this big thing is not working, create a smaller unit. Those
Yeah.
smaller units is easier to get a smaller unit working in the
Mm-hmm.
same direction. Now, when you get the smaller units working in one direction, if you want to create a bigger one in the future, then you get their leaders together and sit down and define what sort of union you will like to have with them. Sometimes when people hear Biafra, they think it's a supremacy. Or Igbo people feel special. They want to be alone. They're looking down on us. No, that's not true. The truth of the matter is that the experience of Nigeria have created a very special people in the heart of Africa. The Nigerian experience. We've lived together and we've developed human intellect. The organization should be very, very successful if they come to be. So, to me, both the North, the Africans, when they get an Islamic state, they can look like Dubai. They have a model. They look like Turkey or Saudi Arabia. And they look like America. Ultimately, it's mankind. You have to
Yeah.
get black man. So it is really something that will work for everybody and not really against anybody. Unless Africa remain in that mentality, always asking for handout, always going to white man to beg for food, for medication, for basic needs, thinking about how to create others, how to unleash their potential. So
Zé,
that's what it is.
Zé Campbell, let me ask you, is the IPO, the IPOB leadership in communication with the Kenyan authorities?
We've asked questions from the Kenyan government. We haven't gotten an official response from Kenyan government to IPOB. A Kenyan official, their high commissioner, come out and said in Nigeria that they were not part of the extreme rendition of our leader. But they have not written to IPOB specifically and said, address a letter to us, or in a public conference, address the members of indigenous people of Biafra. So to that, I would say, not really.
Okay, besides your leader, Mazik Nyamdi Kenya, which other leader in the world inspire you and why?
I have a lot of, when I think about nation building and the struggle, the first person that comes to mind is Martin Luther King of United States of America. He led a nonviolent revolution to free blacks. And then you talk about Mandela, another leader that endured a lot for the freedom of his people. And then our leader, Dim Chukwuemeka Odumegwu Ojukwu, who did not plan for war while he was the governor of Eastern Nigeria. But the pogrom that was taking place, he was a 33-year-old young man, 33 years. And he had to take on this enormous responsibility to organize an army to protect his people from extinction. They had no arms, no international friend. They fought for 30 months. And that's why we are still existing today. And then you think about a leader like Moses, the biblical Moses in the Bible,
Yeah.
who also one of my greatest leaders. He led a people in captivity. He had the courage to walk up to Pharaoh without guns, nothing, and demanded that his people be free. So that looks like what we are trying to do today. We are looking, staring the barrels of gun in the face, and we're asking that our people be free. A lot of our members understand, they know that their life is in danger, but they still continue to agitate to ask that their people be free. So those people, those unknown men who led their lives during the war then and continue to lead their lives are my heroes. For no fault of
We,
theirs, they have died for us and the generation to come to have a life, a better life. And I pray that whenever that happens, that the people that we're going to leave behind will understand the sacrifices people made before they had this beautiful nation in their hands and not be like other African countries. There's been enormous human sacrifice in the process. You know, you see, the irony of it is that the people in Nigeria, the people in bondage, but a lot of people who live in diaspora are more, I don't know, they are the people leading the liberation because we have come to taste good countries. We've come to taste something good. We've seen it. We know we can create one in Africa. And we're asking to be given the opportunity so that we can live here and go back to our country. With all these great brains in diaspora, we can go home and unleash this new thing that will completely transform Africa. We have that technology to do so. We've done it during the war. We manufactured what's called Ubunigwe and several other things. We literally refined the oil and the alcohol and made fuel out of it to fly the aircraft we used to fight those wars. So there's a lot of stuff that gives us confidence that if we ever get there, that Africa will never be the same. So those leaders and those other men that we don't know, those unknown leaders, are my heroes that I look up to every day.
oh, we have come to the end of the program, Mr. Ze Okafu. But before we go, I would like you to share one of or two things to motivate the IPOB members worldwide and also those of Biafra. Please, if you can talk to your dialect, to some of those people who don't understand most of what you're saying, just give them a little bit of inspiration. Or what can you tell them to take and to keep with them? Please, I would like you.
Yeah, sometimes I'm reluctant to speak in my language because Biafra is made up of more ethnic groups inside the Biafra. So I like to speak, when I address the issue of Biafra, I like to speak in English. But I'm going to add a little bit of my dialect because I need to be original also and hope that other Biafrans understand that I cannot also deny my identity as an Igbo man. Now, it is in our adversity that you know who is a strong man. Anything you excel against an adversity. It elevates you. In Canada here, we don't call problems problems. We call problems opportunities. Because in a bid to solve a problem, it gives you an opportunity to invent, to be something that you're not currently be, to be able to surmount that problem. So the illegal abduction and the extreme rendition of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu gives us another opportunity to dig deep who we are, including our leader, so that when he comes out, we do a postmortem. How did this go wrong? What can we do better? What other things can we change so that we become more effective? So all these things is what I'm looking at, asking Biafra to remain steadfast, to remain resolute. This is not time for fragmentation. This is the time to see the bigger picture, to keep your eye on the ball. There's going to be distractions. There's going to be temptation. Your ability to remain steadfast, your ability to keep your eye on the ball. Remember, the key here is Biafra. We are all keyed on, till we get Biafra, we must remain focused. Obolo, there's no, we can't go back. We've traveled so far that the distance from us to the end where we're going is shorter than going back where we started. So it's like traveling a very, very long distance and you're very close to destination. You are better off reaching the destination logistically than going backward. We've sacrificed a lot of human beings. Yes, there might be mistakes here and there, but the key goal is always ask yourself, are we better off in Nigeria? Or are we better off having a country Biafra? Are we debate anybody? How it is not better to have a prosperous Biafra? I will debate you. Some people tell me Biafra is landlocked. It's not true. Today, we get goods and services from Lagos, 7 hours. The water from Port Harcourt or Warri or Calabar is some 15, 20 minutes, and you are in our country. There are so many landlocked countries that are doing great. Even so, we have so many waterways that we can dredge and create a canal and have access to the sea. We don't need navy, so to say. We need a prosperous economic country, very strong economic country that's going to be the shining light to others. The question I ask people is, we currently don't have a country. So if you're wishing you have access to it, the decision here is, do you want to have a country or you don't want to have a country? Because currently we do not have a country. Because a country simply means a place where you live and you're secure, where your children are secure, and are not in from trash, where they have access to cure themselves if they're sick. Those things do not in Nigeria. And you will get it in Nigeria. Rather, what you get is the most scary thing in the world. Islamic jihad sweeping through the North Africa, through the Sahel, and is now in Nigeria. It's in Mali, in Nigeria, in Burkina Faso, Sudan, Mali, Chad. All those areas is being occupied by jihadists, and they're moving south. So we have a problem. Until we fortify the cities and give the children hope, we don't have a country. So the first we need to do is to have a country. Aichota Biafra. Obodo anyị ga-adị mma. All the eastern states as at now are doing great, even in all this confusion. Because it's the town unions that do the electricity, build schools. There's nothing that federal government does in those areas. Every single development that was there was done by the people. Imagine when you have a country and the leaders come from this one. Trust me, focus on this and you will not go wrong.
Oh, wow. Well, okay, Mr. Zay Okafor, Tim Okafor. I just want to appreciate you for coming to my show. And I am also thankful for the hard work and dedication to the Biafra people. Thank you, brother. Thanks a lot. One for
Thank
all,
you.
all for one. We are all
Thank you,
together.
thank
We
you,
are all
Managela.
together.
Thank you, the people
Yeah.
of Ambassador. We shall conquer.
Yes, we shall.
Thank you for having me.
Th- Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
You have a blessed night.
You have a blessed one too. Thank you, sir.